Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels. We're like your favorite book club, but with movies instead. And this month's theme, Brendan Fraser. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
This
And
week
I'm
on the
Andrew.
show, Andrew is here. You just heard from the man himself. Andrew is joining us for a review of Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley's 2000 movie, Bedazzled. A movie that one Letterboxd reviewer said was both terrible and a masterpiece.
We also talk about Plane and Searching, two movies our fans asked us to go see. We'll let you know what we think.
Plus a surprise appearance from Conan O'Brien. That's all this week on So Many Sequels.
That's right. Find us online on all your favorite social media platforms and enjoy the show. Gonna say I went and saw a movie on the advice of our social media audience the other day.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, how was that?
Yeah. Is he playing or missing?
I asked folks on Instagram and TikTok what I should go see between Missing and Playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted something a little dumb and fun, maybe. I didn't want to think too hard. So I think, unfortunately for me, the winner was Playing. So as of this recording, I went and saw Plane last night.
Mm. Is this the one with Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter? Is that it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You know what? I'd rather watch it on TNT. TNT
Seems like a movie. It would be great. See, that's one of those movies that I qualify as perfect background movies, where it can be on and it can be exciting in moments, and then I can shut my brain off and have a 45-minute conversation, and then something else shiny happens, and I go, "Oh, look at the explosion again!" I can still piece together what happens.
That's kind of how it was.
Yeah. For me, that's a movie that I just never would put on. Like I walked out and I was like, if I walked out and I was just kind of like, ho hum.
You know, that's the great benefit of being an AMC A-list member is I feel like I can throw away a couple tickets on bad movies like that because, you know, you get 3 a week.
Right.
I can't really manage 3 movies a week. Theaters.
That's a time commitment, you know?
It is. At best, I could get 2 on good weeks. So I have an abundance of options. And, you know, if I want to go see Plane, I don't really feel bad if it sucked. And I don't even say it sucked.
Yeah.
It was just like, whatever, you know. If there weren't, you know what? If there weren't other people in the theater, it would be one of those movies where I would just like dilly-dally and kind of pay attention here and there.
Look up IMDb on it.
Yeah, and pay just enough attention to get the gist of what's going on. That is what it would be.
To be the other part of your social media, I saw Missing. As of this recording, I saw Missing this week. Yeah. And, you know, it was good. I think it was good. I think that this movie was good. I think that it was entertaining. I think that it had not as good of an overall story as Searching, which is kind of connected to this, but not totally. So they're not really connected. But it was very twisty, which the original one was not. And so what the original one did with regular storytelling, this one kept your interest with a lot of fun twists. You know, it was just kind of, you never knew where it was going to go, and it was more thrillery than suspenseful. So, you know, pros and cons. It was pretty good. I think people like it overall.
Was it scary?
You know, it wasn't scary, but
frightening scenario though.
It was a frightening scenario. It is. No, I wouldn't say it was scary. I think that it was kind of more shock. I think
now
it was more like kind of
is it told through like essentially screen recordings of like social like various video conferencing and things like that, text and such? Is it better or worse than the episode of Modern Family where they did that?
I don't think I've seen that episode, so I would probably say better because it depends on what season of Modern Family.
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
You know, they were in their stride by whenever that episode was. I don't remember when it was, but it's a very simple setup they have for Modern Family. You have the same characters, 2 characters repeated 7 times. And so you just constantly getting the best of it, you know. That said, I'm kind of so on Modern Family myself. So anyway,
it has its ups and downs.
Good review, Garrett.
Yeah.
And Josh.
Oh well, thank you. What have you seen anything fun in the past couple weeks or so, David?
No, I've been watching Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh yeah, I know you've been watching Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb, a lot of Phineas and Ferb. The kid loves it.
Well, I know that that's for you too, just as much.
It's true. It's true. You know, I was how old? I think 17 when Phineas and Ferb. I was 17 when Phineas and Ferb came out, and I remember putting it on. It was on an episode of TV, and I was like, put this on for my brother because he was like 11 or 12, and they got me with like a couple jokes. It was a surprisingly funny show for kids, so I just like kept watching it, and it was one of those guilty pleasures, if you will. And so they're bringing it back. 40 more episodes coming to Disney Plus. Should be fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
I must be getting streamed the heck out of.
I see the guy on TikTok a lot. The voice.
Dan Povenmire? Yeah.
Yes.
He's hilarious. Yeah. He used to work for Family Guy. That's what he did before Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wrote probably 3 or 4 of my favorite episodes of Family Guy. They're really, I mean, he's very funny. And then, so he just took that to a kids show format. And there's a lot of, I'm not going to say adult humor in the show because there's not really, but there's a lot of Family Guy-esque like tone and delivery, if that makes sense. Like they'll deliver jokes and you're like, that would have fit on Family Guy, the way that they deliver it.
Nice. All right. Andrew, you've been watching anything fun lately? You see anything good or bad even? I don't know. What have you been up to?
I've been rewatching a lot of Brendan Fraser stuff, and I've been, I mean, that's been about that much. I can't really report as to whether or not, I can't really report of like, I've seen anything like new recently. I've been watching some documentaries and that's about it. It's nothing. I've been revisiting like some old movies recently.
You always do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Let me ask you. Can I ask you a quick question about your quick opinion? This is your first time joining us with our hashtag So Many Sequels Fraser-ary edition. What are your quick reviews of the ones that we've done so far? Because I've seen that you reviewed them on Letterboxd, our favorite social media site. What are your reviews of Blast from the Past and George of the Jungle?
Blast from the Past is a masterpiece.
All right.
It is a literal masterpiece, and I will say that to the day I die. That movie is absolutely amazing.
Do you agree or disagree with everything that I've ever told you about you being that movie to a T?
No comment.
That's what I said.
He can plead the fifth. He has a constitutional right.
He does. He will never deny it. They'll go back and listen to the Blast from the Past episode. He knows exactly. I told them that I would say it to your face, so I just wanted to do that for this episode.
He was born in a bomb shelter in 1987.
All right. What about George of the Jungle?
Yeah.
George of the Jungle is awful.
Oh, you guys are like,
man, David really defended it hard.
Are 3 of the worst people.
Hey, I didn't say it was awful.
I don't think either of us said it was awful. We tried
you just didn't like it as much as I did, and that's
correct.
Fine.
Correct.
So let me just state my case about George of the Jungle.
You can't be coming in here with the word awful.
Awful.
I watched it. Okay, so like I watched it a few months ago. I watched it like 2 months ago, like right before Thanksgiving, because it was I don't remember if it was right around Halloween or Thanksgiving or whatnot, but I'm just like, I was scrolling through Disney Plus and I'm like, oh, there's George of the Jungle. And it was like a Tuesday night and I'm like, I'm just going to watch this.
That's specific.
Just to see how good
exactly what it's for. That's literally what George of the Jungle was made for.
Yeah. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is bad.
Oh, come on.
This is really bad. Like so bad. I had to stop it, go make dinner, and contemplate whether or not I was going to go watch it again or turn on something else.
Oh, you should have left it playing.
Yeah. Why just
do your homework?
Yeah, do your homework.
I like at that point in time, I just decided I'm going to go ahead and just finish it. So I finished the movie and it's still bad. It just really is. Like the jokes are they're targeted towards kids.
Go
So
figure.
11-year-old me
Yeah.
was having the time of my life. But I look at this movie now and I'm like, there's no way at all that I could really get in on this movie.
All
Like,
right.
George of the Jungle was fine.
No, you've upgraded a little.
Now you've upgraded.
That's fine.
sorry,
That's from awful to fine.
Sorry, I trailed off. I trailed
Interesting.
off.
Yeah.
Okay.
George of the Jungle is not fine. It is it is the definition of not fine. It is awful. It is like, I know.
You go too far.
Well,
A step too far, he says.
you know what? If this is the line, I'm over there on the equator. So
Oh boy.
All right.
Well, it's a good thing he wasn't there.
And after you said Blast from the Past was a masterpiece, I don't know. This is such a this is such a gap between us, Andrew. I don't know if we'll be able to close.
Wait,
Oh,
did
wow.
you?
Well,
did you
let's
not like
try
Blast from the
because
Past?
we've
It was.
got.
I think it was fine. I think it was okay. It wasn't awful. I won't say it's awful, but it was fine. So anyway,
Andrew,
It's a
you and
masterpiece.
our listeners
Not to
can go get
relitigate.
David's opinion on the show, on the Blast from the Past Fraser-ary episode, Brendan Fraser-ary, a couple weeks ago. But today, I'm gonna kick it back to Josh because it's his pick with the Brendan Fraser-ary selection of Bedazzled.
That's right. Bedazzled. I've been
Mhm.
excited for it. Bedazzled is a movie that I kind of had vague memories of when I was a kid. Let's see, this movie came out in 2000, so I'm either 9 or 10 depending on which half of the year it is. So I remember being aware of it, but it definitely being a movie that, like, oh, I'm not allowed to watch that, so I didn't see it as a kid. But it's kind of been floating around my peripheral vision for a long time. So I wanted to take this opportunity to see what it's all about. Bedazzled is I don't know if I want to call it a rom-com. It's got a there's some rom and some com.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't quite fit the traditional idea of a rom-com. Really, it's about Brendan Fraser, who is this I don't know how it read in 2000, but in 2023, a really terribly unlikable man.
Yeah.
Who
a really depressed man.
Yeah, he's desperate for the attention of a woman at work who barely knows he exists.
Yeah.
And so through a chance meeting with Elizabeth Hurley as the devil, he is essentially granted 7 wishes in exchange for his soul. And a hero's journey unfolds with each wish. So that's
go ahead.
That's Bedazzled. That's why I wanted to pick it. What do you guys? What about you guys? Does anyone here have a relationship with this movie, or is it also just kind of on your outskirts?
No. Can I go?
You sure?
I think I have a similar relation to it with you, Josh. Is that I never really saw it as a kid, but I remember it being on, I don't know, TNT or Comedy Central, maybe, you know. And I just remember seeing, like, you know, TBS, maybe, you know, very sexy Miss Kensington, Elizabeth Hurley, and you know, Brendan Fraser, and I was like, all right, well, whatever. But it just never really watched beyond like 3 minutes of it at any given time. You know, it was just what I, you know, just never really got into it. Did a bunch of research before watching the movie because it's based on, and it says this at the beginning, a 1967 film, I believe, starring Dudley Moore, who's like a comedy legend in England. It was a pretty popular movie back then. A remake with Elizabeth Hurley and Brendan Fraser. What could go wrong, right?
Bless you.
And you know, a lot. I would characterize this movie as nothing and nowhere all at once. It was just, for me, it was really repetitive, and it was just, I kind of knew where we were going, and I was like, but we got to suffer through like at least 2 more of these alternate realities where, you know, he's this or that. And you know, I was excited, and then I was kind of very much let down. You know, this is not a new story. Even Bedazzled, the 67 movie, was inspired by the Faust Legend, which is like a 1400 story about this guy who sells his soul to the devil. In that, he gets like 7 years of just success. Like whatever he does, he'll be successful for 7 years, right? And the great thing about 1400s, like 15th century stories, is there's no happy ending. The guy, he just went to hell. So you gotta appreciate them for sticking with the bit in that one. But there's little references in this movie to other adaptations of that story, The Devil and Daniel Webster, and things like that. But I don't know. It was just, I was enjoying myself early on. I thought he was Brendan was an annoying character, but I had some sympathy for him because he's lonely. He just kind of wants people to be friends with him. He wants, but he's that guy at work that you avoid. And so I wanted him to overcome, but also after a while, it was like the devil, and she's the devil, I guess. She's just kicking a sad puppy. And I was just like, why am I watching this? I'm just like watching, this is just torture.
The problem that I found with David's review was mainly that he said he went into it excited, right? That was a mistake. He had optimism that this movie would be some semblance of good. And
anyway, did you get any of that at the end?
No.
That's okay though. We got the gist.
Yeah, the ending came too easy, I think. Not necessarily the act, just the explanation. And it was just kind of like, you figured it out. Good for you. So
catching you up, David, is I said quickly that you went in with certain expectations that this movie could be good, whereas I went in with no expectations that this movie was going to be good, and I think that enhanced the viewing of this for me. I had never seen it. It was a trailer that I remember seeing, but I throw it in the category of this came out at the same time as Monkey Bone or something like that, and at that point in time, it kind of felt like Brendan Fraser had just become another character actor of the same thing over and over again. And so that's just a down part of his career, in my opinion. So I didn't pay attention to these movies. It's bad, boys, but it's entertaining. That's where I landed on it. It is in that part of my viewing. This is a movie that is like the stereotype of all those stupid comedies that came out in that time frame. And all you had to be was a stupid comedy with a name. Mm-hmm. You had Brendan Fraser, who was a stereotype of a nerd that nobody liked. You had a sexualized Elizabeth Hurley, which was the point of her in the movie, which was unfortunate. Their chemistry overall, I thought was good. I thought they worked well with each other with what they were given. Mm-hmm. I thought that was entertaining. It was repetitive. It felt longer than it was by a lot. And then, they really did David, they gave up on the ending. And the fact that my biggest issue is the fact that no one in the history of the devil ever playing this game had ever considered giving up their wish for somebody else. No one had ever improved in the history of the devil's thousands of years. And I was like, you mean this is the only person? No. Mm-mm. But Brendan Fraser was funny.
Yeah.
They did a good job with some of the slapstickiness of it. There's some issues with it that don't hold over well from the time frame that it was made. So I don't necessarily recommend it, but you know what? If it's on TBS and I need a background movie, I'll put this. This can stay on. This can stay on for me.
We love TBS background movies on this show.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Andrew, what do you think about Bedazzled?
So I saw this movie not when it came out, but like I saw it in the year 2000.
Oh, okay. So somebody has some remembrance. And that was like, Pete, you were what, 14 around there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about 14 or 15, somewhere in there. And like my
brother,
you're a little
older than us at the time.
Yeah. And my brother rented it and we watched it that afternoon. And I just remember thinking it was just like, meh. It was okay. Wasn't great. But it also had like, it was one of those movies that we had like HBO, we had HBO 2, we had all the HBOs, and like it would come on in rotation. Yeah. So I saw it all the damn time. Yeah. And the thing is
always
that,
watching Bedazzled.
Yeah, it was just one of those movies that I just kept put on repeat, and there were funny pieces to it. There were some chuckling going on. That's about it. It's not an overall like, oh man, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. This is like, I genuinely thought that like Brendan Fraser thought he was good, but also like it made me kind of feel bad for him a little bit. Like he is that type of dude that nobody wants to hang around. Elizabeth Hurley, the one thing I'll say about Elizabeth Hurley is this: I love that woman's voice.
Oh yeah,
I love that woman's voice.
She got a
that
great
woman,
voice.
That
Very
woman
nice
can
voice.
read the phone book to me,
and
I would listen with 8 ears. So, but like the thing is,
interesting terminology.
I mean, I'm just saying that's how much I would listen. So, but like the thing is that it was directed by the same guy who did Groundhog Day. Harold Ramis.
Yeah. I did have some hope that it might be good at that point in time, but it was very quickly erased.
Yeah, whatever hope you had, it's gone. Because the thing is, it's not good. It does not hold up very well at all. So
I have one thing I think though, Andrew, is that the problem that I have with this movie, watching it now and not having any experience with it, is that Brendan Fraser's character is not, I don't have sympathy for him because he is unlikable. He is like overly forcing himself on these people, and they are just trying to be nice because they can tell. But I mean, he is not likable. And
he doesn't have any self-awareness.
Right. And it's not one of those where like people are mean to him and he's put in that corner. He's like he's put himself kind of in there. And that's anxiety driven and whatnot. And like, I get it. But like the way that it was portrayed at the time, especially, was it just doesn't hold over well. It's poorly executed. For me, the star of the show, Orlando Jones. Jones, every time
I was hoping we were going to mention him.
Screen was so funny. I always love an early 2000s movie that features Orlando Jones.
Oh yeah, that 7-year period between like 97 and 2003 with Orlando.
He was the 7-Up guy. He was perfect at that point. And then the
replacements, the whole thing.
The best by far, the funniest part of this movie was the basketball scene. The basketball scene was hilarious. That piece right there is what Will Ferrell wanted Semi-Pro to be, and it was so wonderfully funny. And I will watch Orlando Jones.
Yeah, he was
any kind of comedic character acting at any point in time.
He made that particular wish, fantasy, whatever you want to say, with his hilarious impression of just a basketball commentator who has horrible, like, they can't speak. That was really funny. That said, it's not consistently a funny movie. I think that it has parts that are funnier than others. When Brendan Fraser is just sweating continuously, I found that pretty funny.
Yes, that was one of my favorite parts. I made a note that just says the sweat.
Yeah,
the sweat.
When he's a Colombian drug lord and he's speaking Spanish, and then he goes to the guys and he speaks Russian. He goes, "Oh no, I speak Russian." That was a nice little aside for me as well.
When he ripped off his
skin.
Mustache.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's where you can find bits of him that are likable, when he's kind of discovering how great his life seems to be in the New Wishes, because it is genuinely joyful watching him just like ramble in Spanish to this guy just because he knows he can now. And the basketball scene, hilarious, but I didn't need to see that many wishes, I guess.
It is a complete. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. I was just gonna say it does feel like it drags, which is unfortunate because it is actually technically a pretty short movie.
Yeah.
But it feels like it, and I think it's because they went with 7 wishes and we had to go through so much of it. Some of them lasted too long. Some of them probably I could have gone for more basketball, less Colombian drug lord.
Yeah. That one had like a whole arc to it.
But then, every time you are taken back to the office setting, you're reminded that really just everyone sucks. Because you can't. It's harder to sympathize with Elliot because, his coworkers do treat him badly, but you're also left feeling like he deserves to be treated badly. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're not really doing yourself any favors. I don't really like that they bully you, but you're kind of awful.
Yeah, well, he's just intrusive. He's a Michael Scott type guy, I guess you could say, if you want to compare him to another character, where he thinks he's in on all the jokes with everybody, but he's just painfully unaware of how he comes off.
And to me, it makes it to me at the end where I don't feel like he's changed. Like the point should be for him to have changed as a human and as a person, and I just wasn't left believing that. I feel like we saw a strong enough change.
Yeah.
And you're right, David, earlier you said that the ending was way too easy. It definitely was. The loophole is...
He literally just had to wish somebody else something.
An act of selflessness.
An act of good wish.
And I'll tell you guys something. This exact same plot point is what ends... I mean, spoiler alert. This exact same plot point is what ends Bruce Almighty. But that movie makes the character change feel realistic and feel earned. And this, it doesn't really feel like it does.
No, because it's the premise that you would do a selfless act, almost unintentionally, right? That you would naturally do a selfless act. That's the premise. If you have to make yourself do it, then you're not, worthy per se.
I think he genuinely, in the moment, I think the character genuinely feels it. But for me, it
doesn't feel earned.
No, it feels like he arrives at that through very little actual effort. And he's not thinking, this is how I get out. He doesn't know how he gets out.
Right.
But it was just like one, prolonged scene in a jail cell, and then all of a sudden we're there. And it feels like more could have been put into, more guidance could have been obtained. I don't know.
I do also want to make sure to mention my most favorite recurring joke, which was, I'm going to call it the devil's theme, tone low. Every time the devil started whipping up some magic, Wild Thing played, but just long enough to not hear them say Wild Thing.
Wild Thing, yeah. And
I laughed harder every time it kicked in.
Yeah. And it's one of those. It was one of those things.
He's the only part that's fun in the Ace Ventura When Nature Calls movie.
That's
whichever one he's in, he's still the best part.
I think he's in the first one, but it's Take My Breath Away all over again, where they just start playing the song, but they never reach, and you're like, just say Wild Thing, for crying out loud,
They never say it. He never says Wild Thing.
No.
Andrew, what else you got? You got anything else for Bedazzled?
Are we all gonna just ignore the fact that he was President Abe Lincoln for?
He was.
Yeah. You know what? That's where it jumped a shark for me there a little bit, because then it introduced like time travel into the wishes.
Yeah.
And I liked fantasy situations. I didn't like that he was actually Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, very weird.
But I liked how it all led up to like he knows what's coming, and
that part was funny.
Pork pop, and he's
gotta get out of here.
And I appreciated that he didn't try to stop the shooting.
No, he was just like, go for it. He knows he can't interfere with time, but he's got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish. So this is the second movie in like 2 months we've seen where the guy who plays Boomhauer and Cotton Hill has been in the movie. And I kind of wish that he had a little more fun to have.
Who was he?
So he was one of the three guys that was in the office. He was the guy who I guess had less hair. But he was, to be very specific, he was Brendan Fraser's gay lover in the It Turns Out I'm Gay fantasy.
Oh, right.
Toby Huss. That's his name.
Toby Huss. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you don't remember, he's in the new Halloween movies. He's in the Halloween movie as the dad who gets killed.
But he was also in the Weird Al story as Weird Al's dad.
Fascinating. What a filmography Toby Huss has.
He's got a great. The
man is a chameleon. #chameleon. #Toby Huss.
Wow.
In Seinfeld, he's the Wiz.
But
he's the Wiz, and nobody beats him.
Let's talk about the man, though. Let's talk about the performance of Mr. Brendan. How did we feel like it levels up to George of the Jungle and Blast from the Past? I personally think that somehow worse than both.
This is his most normal role, and yet his most unlikable.
Here's the thing: though. You can say what you want. You can say what you want about the character. He nailed it. That's the thing.
Did, he did the best with what he had.
Brendan Fraser doesn't miss, and he
gives it his all every time.
I believe with my whole soul that performance is what that director wanted.
Yeah,
and that's a perfect score.
I'll be honest. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know. It was
not my favorite role.
It was nice to see him construct, normal sentences.
But I believed him.
Part, yeah.
I believed him is the thing.
Right.
I always believe him.
What'd you guys think? Andrew, what'd you think? Thoughts on the performance? Better, worse than George of the Jungle? Better, worse than Blast from the Past?
I'm going to say that it's just, it will not beat Blast from the Past. I just want to say that. It will not beat Blast from the Past. However, I will say that, it's actually below George of the Jungle. I put George of the Jungle ahead of this movie.
Wow, fascinating.
And that's what I have to say about that.
I agree.
Okay, well, on that note, let's move things along and, if possible, talk about the box office performance of this movie, which came out in the year 2000.
Looks like David may or may not be preparing those numbers.
Excellent.
While we can tell our fans that next week we'll be doing Andrew's Brendan Fraser-ary pick, which is, you want to let them know? Because there's a reason, but tell them what it is.
The Mummy.
Oh my God.
Y'all been asking? We're giving it to you.
Yep. And you still have time to go to our social media, So Many Sequels or So Many Sequels Pod. Search for them both and you'll be able to find us. We're doing a fan favorite Fraser-ary flick for alliteration's sake. So right now you can go vote. We're keeping tabs. Whichever one it has the most votes that we haven't already picked, which again, Blast from the Past, George of the Jungle, Bedazzled, and The Mummy. And you can vote for those on our social media. We've been watching a lot of, we're stalling for David, for the record.
Yep, that's fine. Hey, it happens. We record live to tape, as they say.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, what I'm really excited about is I already know at the end of the year at my Letterboxd stats are going to say Brendan Fraser was my most watched actor of 2023. Because there's just no way, right? I can beat this. We're watching a lot of his movies.
And movies that we haven't.
That we're not even covering, right?
Yeah, we've seen, I've seen Encino Man. I've seen Dudley Do-Right.
Right.
I have gone back. And David's back. Hello, buddy.
I'm back. Sorry, that was one of those early 2000s commercials where it's the service cut at the
Can you hear
worst
me
possible
now?
moment. Can you hear me now? Or the ones where they'd be like, so yeah, I think we should do this, and then it cuts out and they're like, what? And something bad happens. Anyway, so did you guys get started? Bedazzled.
No, go for it. We perfectly.
So Josh,
we pitched.
Josh, you would have been 10 when this came out because Bedazzled opened the weekend of October 20th, 2022 in the year 2000. It brought in $13.1 million in its first weekend in just 2,500 theaters. It lost out in the number one spot we had for the third week, Meet the Parents, which was a huge comedy.
Huge. So funny. Overstated 12.
Monster.
It's so funny.
Monster movie.
We'll get to it, I promise.
Well, yeah, when we do
fucking February.
Anyway, or November. Meet the Parents. Anyway, number 3. This is still a nostalgic classic of mine. Remember the Titans came in with 9.9 in its fourth weekend. Pay It Forward brought in 9.6, and an underrated, I don't know, maybe a properly rated, I don't know. Jackie Chan film Legend of the Drunken Master brought in 3.8 in its opening weekend. Bedazzled would go on to make 37.8 million in the United States, 52 million overseas, with a lot of that being in the UK, where the original was, the original was based, giving it a worldwide total of 90 million, which was just good enough to make back, double its budget, around 48 to 50 million. The year 2000, we were, I think, just here not that long ago in the year 2000. Bedazzled finished in the number 64 spot just behind the original Kings of Comedy. This is domestic, by the way. The original Kings of Comedy.
Hilarious.
And other comedies just ahead of it. Little Nicky, The Replacements.
Bad movie. Don't watch it.
The Replacements, though, great movie.
Great movie. Go watch it.
Great bad movie. Watch that. Coen Brothers, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, was at number 55. Anyway, all the way up at the number 1 spot. How the Grinch Stole Christmas was the number 1 movie of the year 2000, featuring Jim Carrey. Big movie. Had a 55 million opening weekend. At number 2, Castaway, starring Tom Hanks. At number 3, Mission Impossible 2. Number 4, Gladiator. And at number 5, What Women Want. All right, that's all I've got for the box office stats this week. Unless there's any questions, we'll kick it to the letterbox game.
Fair enough. All right. Yes, letterbox game it is. I feel like this one could be fun. I don't know.
Andrew, for the record, he doesn't know about the game changes. We've had some game changes to the letterboxed game. You're not on the show as frequently, so we're giving you a bit of a chance to catch up. Should anybody have a direct hit on a letterbox ranking, you get 2 points. If you're the closest, you still get 1 point. So a little bit of a game system. Andrew, we also have a trophy, which is David's. We have a letterboxed king trophy. One of these days he'll get it. One of these days we will actually decree him the reigning letterboxed king, but we have a physical trophy for whoever wins. If that incentivizes you, because you know too many damn movies.
Should be noted that last year, I think Andrew went 2 for 6 with direct hits. So, it could mean a lot if he
it could mean a lot. It could be a game changer. I am excited. I wish we had Orlando Jones to commentate as the process unfolds. Now, as you prepare your guesses, I have a few of the most popular reviews of Bedazzled from Letterboxd. The most popular review from Samuel Scott is 3 stars. I would sell my soul to Elizabeth Hurley 2. Then you've got from Zoe, my favorite part is when Brendan Fraser's character wishes he was incredibly good looking, and then it just cuts to him with a slightly different haircut.
That's right. That's right.
4 stars. This is both simultaneously terrible and a masterpiece.
Fair enough.
And 4 stars. The scene where Brendan realizes he can speak Spanish is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And we agreed that was a very funny moment.
Yes.
So, with that in mind, it's now time to reveal our guesses for what the Letterboxd community has rated Bedazzled. David.
That could be anything. Oh, time to be real, guys.
Oh my God. Podcast.
I am going to guess it's oh man. Letterboxd community betrayed me last week with George of the Jungle. I'm going to say it's a 2.9.
I'm gonna say
Pretty good guess.
2.8.
I mean, I don't. It's not in the 3s. 2.7.
Oh no! You're gonna make me pick a 3.0 because I don't want to go lower than that. Okay, so
You
that's
guys are
like
screwing me here.
I mean, I feel like somebody's got it, right?
3.0 from me, 2.9 from David, 2.8 from Andrew, and 2.7 from Garrett.
Yeah.
This is the worst.
Josh and Garrett have the best chance here.
This is the worst thing to ever happen. Okay.
They've boxed us in, Andrew.
So let me check right here quick and see if we have a direct hit. We do have a direct hit. So we're at least good enough to nail the range.
A 2.
However, it's not David this time.
Oh, you guys would deserve it.
But it is Andrew Nichols.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
That's something told me. I had a feeling.
2.8
Mother lovers
on
very
Letterboxd,
lucky.
this movie. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a 1 win for Andrew and 2 points. You got to come up with a better system for recovering these.
You got to get an Excel sheet, David.
I forgot we're not doing that movie anymore. Take that one off.
Yeah, we gotta upgrade you to Excel or Google Sheets. It's free.
I know. I just got to get. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So I want to talk about one more thing about this movie, and that's this.
What else could you possibly have about Bedazzled?
The fact that a Big Mac and a large Coke with no fries cost $3.47.
Well, that is yeah.
How much does it cost now? I never had a Big Mac.
It's got to be $10 at least, right, for a combo?
I don't know. I got a double. I got a
combo,
double quarter pounder with cheese and fries today, and it was less than $10.
McDonald's is still pretty cheap, but it ain't no $3.34. That's for sure.
No,
Well, if you don't get the meal and you don't get the fries, it's probably like $7.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though.
He did not get fries with that. He did.
That's right.
But here's the thing, though. Like in the year 2000,
In the year 2000,
Big Mac was the size of a friggin' tire.
Yeah,
like
it's a big burger.
I'm glad you did the Conan thing because I was wanting to, and I held it in.
We both. Yeah.
You broke before I did.
It's hard to resist.
I know.
And it's got to be someone saying the phrasing. It's got to be what someone says in the year 2000.
It's got to follow it.
You can't just say it just because someone said 2000. You got to.
It's got to be an echo. Okay, well, what are our personal ratings for the movie? I'll go first since this was my pick. I'm gonna pick a 2.5. It's a 2.5 star movie. Letterboxd outdid me this time.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. 2.5 for me as well.
Okay.
I think I want to say probably 1.5.
Oh, I knew you'd go lower. Okay.
Going low. Andrew, I know Garrett's gonna go real low here.
My number for this movie is my coveted 1.5 spot. This is a bad movie, but it was entertaining. So it falls honestly, it just slid into second on that one, if you want to be real with it. But 1.5.
1.5. There you go. So what does that get? That's a pretty uniquely low
That's like a 1
review for us. Wow. I don't think we've ever reviewed anything that poorly.
Yeah, the system might have worked against us. I don't know.
Hmm.
Anyway, I digress. It is a 1.8 from the So Many Sequels crew.
I mean, it's perspective at this point.
Well,
not a good movie.
Wraps up this week's episode. We've still got a couple more months or weeks of Brendan Fraser-ary left to enjoy, and I know that we will because I know at least one of the picks we talked about earlier. Andrew's doing The Mummy, so that's coming up on deck. That's a stunner. Everyone loves that one, so I'm excited to talk it out with everybody. And then we will end the month or in Brendan Fraser month with the fan pick, which you can vote for online on our social media pages. Check out our Facebook account, to Instagram, TikTok, really anywhere you can find us. If you drop us a DM or leave a comment, we will count your vote. Let us know what you think we should review that we haven't already, because no repeats. Okay, that's it. Also, join our Patreon. How could I forget that one? Patreon.com/so-many-sequels. You can get in there and get access to our Discord where you can talk with us about movies and all kinds of fun stuff going on in there. So go do that. All right. We will see you all next time. Bye.